Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel with your host Elion, and we are here with the brilliant Lord X Lokison. Welcome.
Lovis L, how are you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad yourself.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Cool, cool. For those people who don't know, could you introduce yourself and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Lord X Lokison. I'm the founder of the solo project Luzifer Meutere. Uh, my whole vision around it is to build a monument of beauty, of blasphemy. I'm here to preserve the old way of black metal, to avoid all the commercialism. At the same time, I'm also evolving it into a new direction, but still preserving the past, but also preserving a new sound to it.
Cool, cool. Since we last spoke, what have you been up to?
I've been up to a lot of crazy. It's just been very, very crazy. But I started recording an EP, called "Altars of the Hollow Faith," and it had typically was supposed to be 4 songs, but I did 5 because the last song on it was called Salem's Lot, which is about the Stephen King book about the vampires that invade the town, and it didn't fit well with my debut album. Didn't want to put a total of 3 songs about horror movies, so I decided to add it on to this one, and it's been very well received. But I've been facing a lot of praise and some criticism about the EP, but so be it.
Cool, cool. What? How many tracks are there on the new EP? Could you tell us a
The
little
new
bit?
EP, there's five tracks, and it's all targeting all forms of religion. The organization itself, the founders. Kingdom of Silence is the first song off it. It's based on the atrocities that were committed and the greed of the Catholic Church and the cover-ups with the child scandals that they've been accused of and convicted of, and how they just keep it hush hush and just keep it silent, and how they treat the Pope as a god when he's just a man. He's not Lucifer. He's not Odin. He's not Loki. He's not a deity, but people treat him that way. And my second track is based on a televangelist based here in my adopted state. Uh, it's called Osteen, and it's about Joel Osteen, the charismatic prosperity gospel preacher that makes millions of dollars by just saying, "Hey, give me money, and I make sure you get to heaven." And all his lies and hypocrisy, I call out on it, because he has a silver tongue. He's great in all interviews. He makes everybody happy, but he doesn't spread the message that he preaches. And also, he uh, all he does is basically serve one master, and that is greed and Lucifer. But he doesn't want to admit it because he wants all the money to himself. And I just call him out on that. Be true to yourself, but you don't need to scam people out of all your money. So I actually have thinking about actually hiring some musicians and in a public space across from his facility doing a live ritualistic quick set, to oppose what he is doing. And my third song is about how the infestation of certain religions, such as Islam and its Sharia law, has completely destroyed countries. And I criticized the weak government, German government, not in the song, but I've done it publicly, because all these states and all these countries adopt this Sharia law that they look the other way. And it's unacceptable. Like the women getting stoned, you know, in German, in what's that, in Munich, they're getting rock thrown at them for celebrating New Year's celebrations, and for the government to allow that, it's unacceptable. So I call that track "Burn the Book," and the chorus is from the book of Sharia law because it's very dangerous ideology. It says you must conform to us or we will kill you. And then my fourth track is based on the Prophet Muhammad, and I call out his hypocrisy on everything, how he was just a dictator and a tyrant, and also, a known pedophile for, marrying 9-year-old, girls. And I find that, just horrible. I don't have much disdain and hate for people who abuse children in that manner, or in any manner. And I just called out that whole scene. And then, of course, a tribute to Salem's Lot. So, I don't know if you can hear me or see me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I think your camera's just going off.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I'm gonna check that out. It's clicking, but I don't. Oh yeah, let me hit. Oh yeah, I go. Yeah, I just got the message saying, "Hey, you're offline," but about and I base it on the perspective. It all ties in together of all these hollow faiths, how they just drain your soul and destroy it. And I figure Salem's Lot is a perfect ending for that because it shows how he enters a town, and then house by house, he just consumes the souls and destroys the entire town until it's completely dead. And you can see that if you look at Berlin or even in the States and America, Dearborn, Michigan, how it's all just like that with these hollow religions.
Yeah, cool.
So I tell everybody I'm an equal opportunity blasphemer. I don't believe in targeting the safe religions, like just going after Christianity, like the majority of all the black metal bands. I have a strong conviction in my beliefs, and I express it. I don't just put on the costume. This is my ideology. This is my platform, and this is how I become a lone warrior for the whole thing. I want to reveal what's behind people's beliefs and their religions. I study it, comprehensively. I've read the Quran. I've read the Bible. I've read the Book of Mormon. I've even read the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey, which is a bunch of nonsense and silliness. And I have also disdain for him because he treated a deity as Lucifer and turned him into a joke by putting on these silly costumes, wearing the plastic pitchforks, and doing these stupid ceremonies that have no relevance into it. If you read the Satanic Bible, a lot of it is stolen from the Eddas that Odin himself had put into it, and they're so similar. And it's basically plagiarism that he is stealing from the old gods that the invaders tried to put away back in the old days to erase the history of Odin and all the great gods. And Anton LaVey did the same thing. He's plagiarism from Odin. And I find that highly offensive. And I have much disdain for him or anybody that treats these deities with such a joke, because all these deities are real. You could feel them. You could feel their presence. When you need their help, they're there. When I play my music, I don't submit to any deity. I don't worship any deity, but I respect them and I harness their power. And through that, my music comes through. And that's why it's so easy for me to write music or come up with lyrics with things. And another reason why I wear this headdress, because to me, it's not a costume. It is an actual vessel. And this is respect to the old pagan ways, and also a vessel to harness all this power that these deities have that you could draw from. And to treat them as a joke or as nonsense, as trivial, it's just very offensive to me.
Yeah, I'm sort of like I am a pagan, and I sort of like do respect other religions, and I don't get really what people I don't get what people say, sort of like when they turn around and say, oh yeah, this particular god or that particular god or this particular deity or the total sham. No, if that's what people want to believe, let
exactly. And it's not hurting, some religions do hurt you, but I find the majority of I have no problem of what people's religions are. You know, I'm not here to destroy beliefs. My focus is to reveal what, expose what lies beneath them. Have people think why they believe this way, or why, and I find it very fascinating to do religious debates as well. But I'm purely into the chaos aspect of the spirituality, the chaos that Odin brings, his fierceness, and also with Loki, because of his not only being a trickster, but he's just a fun god. And sometimes, things he thinks it's funny when he does bad things to you. It's a joke, but in reality, he's really building your character up to rise above what's coming on to you. And I don't believe in the philosophy as just, look the other way when your enemies are attacking you. I like Odin's fierceness, but, be a friend to your friend, but, attack your enemies viciously, And I adhere to that, because I treat people with respect and dignity. I'm very humble. But the people that want to force themselves onto me, or want to take over entire countries over that, I have just a terrible, opposition to that.
So, will there be sort of like another sort of like EP or album, like sort of like continuation, like a sort of like a continuation on from this particular EP?
Not really. It's going to be completely different because the songs I have chosen for the next LP, the full length version, I had already recorded the majority of the songs, and it's more a tribute to Norse mythology, to the Norse gods, to the pagan gods. I have released a song last year called "The Serpent's Tongue of Loki," and man, I got so much good reception on it, and I really enjoyed that song that I decided to make that the main focus of the album. So not only that's going to be the name of my new album coming out probably mid to late spring, maybe summer. But the majority of the music is about, the whole Norse and the history of the Viking and paganism era, like the Serpent's Tongue of Loki. I have a song titled "The Great Heathen Army," which is kind of in the style I accidentally did. It sounds kind of like old Bathory-ish, but I enjoyed it. Black Wings of the Allfather is on there, and then I have a song about Vlad Dracul called "Throne of Impaled Souls," and I just dig on the history of that, about how he has no mercy. He found his faith through mercilessness, and the fear that he created, to protect his country. How he's hailed a leader, as a hero in this country, because who could do what he did, and then it all goes back. I have a couple songs unrelated, but then it all goes back into like I have a song "Blood Eagle" on that record that I'm going to be putting out, and it's about the execution and how it's done, and it's set up in a cinematic, ritualistic way that it's a good story. It's not vile or nothing, but the whole album is an evolution of my music, and that's how I started it out. Like, my EP is more raw than my full-length album, and it's more traditional, but yet it still retains my own sound. And the new album that will be coming out later this year would be, all the tracks in the very beginning have more of that raw sound, and energy, but then progress into a more polished, defining sound that I have created, but yet still preserving the past, still keeping the grit of the second wave of black metal. And it finishes off with the Ravens of Ragnarok, which I've recorded in 2018 off an 8-track recorder, and I liked it, and I had released it, but I wanted to do it again and I just changed the whole composition. The majority of it I kept was the very beginning, which was just a clean, slightly distorted, beautiful, slow playing. And then I added my vocals on top of that, and I did a little bit of different to showcase, my styles and different influences. I did a little bit more of instead of just tremolo picking, I did a whole different kind of styles of 80 styles riffs, or just riffs that you wouldn't normally hear in black metal, but yet it's still keeping within the realms of black metal. It's a quite unique song, and I think it's still out on Bandcamp, so you could probably check that out if you're interested. But I call it the power ballad of black metal, but as a joke. But it's very powerful, and it's basically about the end of time. Basically about Ragnarok, and I find that a very fitting ending to an album that starts from humble beginnings from Loki, which starts with Loki and basically in turn ends with Loki, because he's the one that started it. Fenrir came out, Suta, a whole story about Ragnarok and how Odin, is devoured by the son of Loki. So it's a very poetic song, and I equivalent it to the poetic edits of the old pagan traditions. But my EP is more raw. It's Osteen. I had kind of a hybrid recording. I recorded majority of my guitar work on 8-track recorder, and then I did some of the beginning vocals off it, and then when I left the vocal tracks out again, and when I decided to, I forgot that I didn't finish the song. So when I transferred it into a DAW, I was like, oh shoot, I'm missing. So I went into re-record because I was polishing up the guitars, just to see. So I just finished off the lyrics. So it's it's very interesting, but a lot of people like that style, the sound, but it's more traditional, black metal. And the last song I've written that I don't even know I'm going to put out, but I was so angry not so long ago, and I was like, man, what could be worse than what I'm feeling now? And then I thought to a childhood friend of mine, oh man, I would go visit him, and I couldn't even stay 5 minutes in that house because it had that putrid smell of cat. Like if that litter box smell, I couldn't even stay in there for 5 minutes, and I'd refuse to go back. And I was like, what's worse than that? That I said it could be stuck in that house for all time. And I was like, you know what? That's a silly song, but that's work. So I did a song about spending eternity in this putrid stench and hearing these phantom meows torturing you, and it just felt it fitting and mocking of the Christian version of hell as well, And don't know if I'm going to put it out as a special or as a standalone, or put it out at all. But I did record and finish production on that, and the title is the Kitty Abyss of Sulfur. So yeah, I just wanted to do something silly, but it came out very strong, and I was actually surprised on the way it turned out. But it is what it is. But I thought it'd just be silly to do something funny to write about, and I was surprised even myself.
Speaking of writing, we've got a question from Aussie Queen of the Rose. She asks, "What is your process for writing?"
Well, it varies. My process. Sometimes I'll have an idea in my head of like a song title. I'd be like, "Oh man, okay." I'll start thinking about lyrics, or I'll just have it stick in my head. But the majority of my songwriting is plain. I'm just jamming, and I'm not thinking of writing anything. I'm just there just to jam, and it just comes naturally. I go, that sounds very good. I'm going to redo that. And then I'll have the idea of a song that I either had, the back of my head, or that I was wanting to do. and that's how I'll do it. And I'll spend, maybe a couple hours of that coming up with it. But then sometimes it might take a few days. I tweak it here and there, or I forget about it and then I come back to it later. But my writing process is pretty spontaneous. I either get the idea of a song in my head, or even sometimes I'll just have this melody in my head that I've never heard, and I was like, I have to replicate it, and then I come in and I start playing, and I won't stop until I've replicated the exact sound that I hear in my head. It's very frustrating, that process, but other than that, it's just sporadic. It's not, hey, I'm going to write a song about, this today. It's just, how I feel at the time. Sometimes somebody will give me an idea. Hey, this would be good. Or somebody would just say something, and I like that phrase. I'm like, hey, I'm going to use that in a song. It's going to be that way. But most of the time, it's just me, playing the guitar or just playing my drums, and then this simultaneously the wheels start circling in my head, and that's how I do it.
Cool. Thank you for that, Ozzy. So, when is the latest EP out?
It was released on the 16th of January. Was supposed to be released a day later, but my distributor put it out one day early, because they thought by the time all the streaming services receive it, it would tune in line. But so it actually was released on the 16th of this month. And, it's been very well received, and also a lot of controversy, some of the topics. But like I said, I target all religions. I just don't stick to the safe religions. I target everybody who I believe are dangerous, corrupt. Even I might even eventually do one about Anton LaFey and his portrayal of his church.
Cool. So, is there going to be, or is there any plans on releasing any merchandise for this EP, like such as t-shirts and stuff?
Well, I have a few limited edition shirts out, and but not for this EP yet. I haven't done anything. It's still for this has a band logo, Luzifer Meutere, and the back. I also have like posters and banners, you can purchase, and I do have my own guitar picks that I use my own, but I make them all different designs, So usually, if I personally sent out anything, I will add that in there, or I'll have my distributor try to put, in when they can. Or if they want to pay a little bit more, I will personally do it with the postage.
Cool.
I have to pay more because I'd have to pay postage just for ordering it wholesale, to myself, and then send it out. But to get it signed, and extra stuff, flyers of past shows I've done in the past.
Cool. So, if somebody wants to purchase some merchandise, would they go through the social media?
Yeah. Right now, all I have on my record label website is just the albums themselves. But if you go, just email to my record label, hereticsvaultrecords@gmail.com, and request, and I can get that to you.
Cool. Excuse me.
Bless you.
So, where can people find you on social media, such as like Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that?
Yeah, pretty much all the platforms. YouTube. You can listen to my music there. Bandcamp, TikTok. Let me see, Instagram, and maybe some other few that I don't even remember. But those are the main ones. Just type in Luzifer Meutere, and I will pop up. If you want to, and also I'm also cataloged in their library. So if you want to put on the picture and They'll just look for my name and boom, put my music to go along with your photo or whatever.
Cool. So, guys, in the chat, we're going to be starting to wrap things up. So, if you've got any more questions, please ask away. So I know I've asked this question before, but have you got any advice for people who want to become a musician, whether it be for possibly going down the personal route or even down to the commercial route?
My main advice is don't try to go commercial. If it is to be, it'll be. It'll happen. I intentionally stay reclusive and elusive, and I don't look for mainstream. But if that is your fame, then there'll be lots of disappointments because there are so many competitors and stuff that you have to create your own sound to do. Like I said earlier, make sure you refuse to pay if they don't respect your craft enough to pay you. That a lot of these shady promoters either have you buy the tickets, up front, then you have to sell them yourselves, or they just say, "Hey, play it for free," but I don't give any. I don't. That's something I don't like, because I respect the craft so much that I think every musician should get paid for doing their craft. And I'm very of a lot of festival type venues as well, because lots of bands have complained in the past. I've been invited to a few, but I have declined. There was one I was thinking about doing, and then I was thinking, not enough time for a visa. Then I realized, I don't need a visa, for that country. But I just ultimately I just declined. It's not what I want at this moment. I'm just focusing on recording and maintaining the integrity of my project, instead of trying to achieve commercialized fame. So, do what you want. If you want to be a mainstream artist, then do it. But that's going to take, a lot of work. And it's the same as if you want to be independent, do everything your own way. To both mirror each other, but don't be a follower. You have to be on your own. Don't listen to anybody, because they will give you the wrong advice. It will make you sound like everybody else with no distinction. Look at the scene now. Every black metal band sounds like every other black metal band. I could hear one and be like, I don't know who that is, But then I listen to stuff like Dark Throne, Satanic Warmaster, and then I'll be like, hey, I know who they are, And I also, there was this post on one of the TikToks. This guy says, I love black metal, but I stumbled across this. And it was some genre of black metal, depressive black metal, that's what they call it. And I'll be honest, it was terrible. It had slow ambient guitar riffing, but the woman singing sounded like she was screaming like a chicken. Like the whole song was just shrieks like a chicken. I couldn't describe it. But I was like, hey, they enjoy doing that, and they're getting some, why put down a band because it's not your thing, There's lots of bands I don't like, and the only way I would put them down is if they conflict with my ideology and bringing that state of my music and art. I just have a problem with people putting on the costume. People will wear Budsum shirts, but yet say how much they hate Vogue, and they despise his ideologies. Well, if you despise him so much, why are you buying his merch and why are you listening to his music? It's because you want to act like the cool kids and be like, hey, look at me. I listen to Budsum, need some validation. I don't like trends like that, and I'm not very outspoken about that. But if you truly love the art and respect it and like the music, I have no problem with it. And whatever you're trying to achieve, I don't care if you sound like a screaming chicken, but you're not making a mockery of the art of the music itself. You are just doing what you feel like doing, and if it resonates with some people, obviously, because you have an album out and people are listening to it, and it doesn't resonate. Look at King Diamond; he's got the same thing going. He's very mainstream, but yet people love him or hate him. They can't stand his falsettos or they love it. It's very unique. But he didn't listen to his protractors in the beginning, so I just say do whatever you want and don't put your fellow musicians down unless they're putting down the actual craft and diverting it in a way that makes a mockery of your music.
Yeah, true. Yes, stay true to yourself, and yeah, don't.
It's artistic integrity. That's all it is. No.
Yeah.
I'm in self-imposed isolation. So I could reflect the coolness of Norway or of Germany, without being, influenced by outside influences. You know what I mean? And then I spirit the chaos, the spiritual realm from it, and I'm able to project it to my music. And I don't follow trends; I create them. I preserve the old ways while also creating sound. Sound unique.
Yeah. Sound by saying, and yeah, stay true to yourself and don't listen to people, and don't let people deviate from your path.
Yeah, exactly. People say, you have shady promoters that will already put your name out on flyers because you're very anticipated. Hey, you can get this band. Then they'll post it out already, knowing that fans are already buying tickets just to see them. And then they send you the contract. Hey, we want you to play this festival. Well, I'm not really interested. Or maybe I'm thinking about it, but then I'm looking and I go, well, the logistics don't make sense, with what you're offering me, or it does make sense, but I'm just refusing. I just don't feel like it's something I want to do, And then they try to say, well, we got all these people, we already have flyers with your name, and all these people are buying tickets, so you're going to disappoint them. I said, I don't care. You're the ones that did it, not me. Don't try to extort me by something that you did. And a lot of these promoters do that. I fell victim to that myself, but I refuse to bow down and accept. So I'm just like, be true, and you have to have artistic integrity. That's it, to preserve the art of your music, because music's spiritual. It's a spiritual thing, like we talked about. It hits the vibrations of your soul, as your very being, your inner being.
Yeah. We've got a comment from Gunner Girl. She's just said, "Thank you. We'll check out your music."
Yeah, I very much appreciate that. I like that very much. And check me out on YouTube, Spotify. Like I said, Bandcamp might have one or two rare releases. I can't even keep track anymore. I just put it out and then I forget about it.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Gunner Girl. So, Lord Lokison, yes, thank you so much for coming on and doing this little update, little interview with us, with me. It's been a total pleasure.
And as for here as well, I wasn't expecting an interview when I let you know that I put out an EP. I was just remembering last time. Oh yeah, just let me know, And I was like, okay, fine. That'd be pretty good. Hey, I got an EP. Check it out. Pretty much. And then he said, hey, I was thinking about doing an interview. I was like, well, yeah. I like I told you in the past, I'm very reclusive and hesitant of doing interviews, but with you, I feel like I'm talking to my old friend again. So it's very good to be talking with you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, I try. It's. Yeah, I'm interested in what you're doing, if you know what I mean. And then if we can get you on and doing a little interview to get help, get people to help people to get in a little bit of interest in what you're doing. That's why I want you to get you back on again. Got a new EP out. Let's hear the story behind the EP, if you know what I mean.
Oh, me? Okay. It's called Altars of the Hollow Faith, and like I said before, I described it as all these faiths being hollow, based on greed, perversion, and corruption. And I attacked them all. I attacked from the Catholic Church to Christian evangelism, all the way to Islam. And it ends with a symbolic nod to how these hollow faiths destroy societies, with Salem's Lot, which is based on the Stephen King's movie, how Mr. Barlow, the vampire, single-handedly just goes house by house and just destroys the town and kills it off until he moves on to a new town to kill. It's pretty much my premise and my outspokenness. My debut album was just to get to my message, what I was about. And this EP actually targeted certain types of what, I'm about.
Yeah. Cool.
And, unabashedly, I stand firm on everything I've said on my albums, and not ashamed of it, and I'm not scared of any repercussions, because, it's all truth. And I do, unlike other black metal bands from the genre, sometimes we'll say, hey, we do this, we do this, we do that, but then, hey, why don't you talk about this? Oh, we don't want to get, censored. Oh, we don't want to get, well, that's the difference between living your lifestyle or just putting on a costume.
Yeah.
But check it out. It's more raw than my debut album. It's more traditional, but still retains my sound.
Cool. And thank you, Lisaboo and Ozzy, for posting out the links. And thank you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that for everyone's support, and I hope you enjoy it. It's a short, EP that immerses you in corruption and faith, but it's very fun. It's a very fun, thrilling ride.
So, guys, go check out Lord X Lokison's music, and over on the all the links are in the description and in the chat. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming on and doing this little interview. It's been a total pleasure.
Same here.
So guys, until next time, we'll catch you all later.